The mole, the peak from the ground. I feel like I need to get my story out there even though it seems I have already found 100 just like it. I guess I haven't found the answers I am looking for. I am 35, W is 34, married 14 years, 2 kids 14 and 9. In hindsight, I will preface my story and say that I think I have not paid as much attention to my wife as I should have for going on 2 years now. I chose to hang out with my buddies and drink beers over her company on many occasions. Okay, so we built and closed on our first house this past year as well. During the final few weeks prior to closing on our new house, we lived in a hotel room. One night in the hotel room we got into a fight and my wife left with the kids. I did not think much of the fight at the time. My concern was that she come back to the same hotel room and not waste money on a second room, but this is where my story begins. Apparently, after she left our room that night, she began talking to an old high school ex-BF on the phone and in another state. She did come back to our room that night and did not waste any money on a second room. So, in my mind, life goes on. Over the next few weeks, I start noticing she is going for walks by herself, or running errands without our kids. She has always done everything with our kids. After we closed on our house, I thought things would have a sort of returned to normalcy. I was way wrong. The week after we closed on our first home, she insisted on taking a trip without me or our kids back east to visit her mother. I could not understand why she would want to take such a trip only a week after we closed on our house, but her mother can be very controlling and she said her mother had insisted she make it in for some family BBQ. After she returned from her trip, she was back to her same tricks: more errands, less kids, lots of alone time, and began acting suspicious. I have never been a jealous husband. In fact, I am less bothered by other men hitting on my wife than she is. She is a very attractive woman. I have always been very confident in her love for me. About 2 months after the night of the fight in the hotel, I came home a little tipsy one night, and having had suspicions for the first time in my life with this woman, I grabbed her cell phone as she was texting away next to me in our bed. She immediately looked shocked and scared that I was about to uncover something big, and she broke down and began crying. I tried to unlock the phone but did not know the password, so she said to give it to her and she would type it in. But she wanted to tell me first before I read anything, which I agreed to. She proceeded to tell me she had been talking to her high school ex for a few months now and she was thinking about leaving me. She admitted to an IA but denied that it had gotten physical. By the time she was finished telling me of IA, she had slipped into her phone and deleted all text messages, so I'm not sure what evidence got erased. I suppose this was my first eye-opening. I did not get any sleep that night. I couldn't understand what she was telling me or how that could happen. Why didn't she talk to me? The next day I took off work and told her was going to work on forgiving her, and that I wanted our marriage to work. She offered to delete her Facebook, turn her phone off, whatever it took. She was in. Let's save the marriage. As time went on, I noticed her suspicious behavior just became more suspicious, locking herself in the bathroom for extended periods of time, multiple times a day, etc. So, I logged into my cell phone account and began looking at cell phone activity. Aha, she is calling and texting this guy every day, multiple times a day, and he too. I decide to use this new information as a sort of barometer to gauge my success with her. I won't tell her I know about the texts and calls and eventually they will slow and cease. No, they continue and I begin to feel betrayed daily. Now 4 months from the hotel room fight, we blow up at each other. She says she is gone and I am almost in agreement. But no, I calm her down a few hours later, explain to her that our love is strong and that neither one of us has a chance as long as she is continuing the IA. She agrees and all communication appears to cease, at least off the cell phone bill. I believe she is still talking to the guy through any of 100 other ways that I cannot track, but decide I am going to beat him and win. I become super husband, super dad. This only pisses her off more. It seems the harder I try to win her affection, the angrier she gets at me. So, I try harder. Okay, so 6 months after the hotel fight, she buys plane tickets for her and our kids to go back east to her mother's. She did this behind my back, but I found the bank statement charges and confronted her. She was very nice about it and said that she had to buy them when she did. They were the last seats, blah blah, and she didn't think I would mind, but she also didn't have enough money to buy my ticket. Well, I, being super husband, agreed to her and the kids going to her mother's. After all, what could she do? Our kids are with her. Well, once she got away from me, she was like a dog off the leash. I couldn't get her on the phone. I would talk to my kids every day and they would talk about mommy being out with friends. So, my wife was spending a lot of time out and without the kids. This grew my suspicion, so I vowed to work even harder when she returned and that I should have never stayed behind. The day they returned, I was very excited. She would surely see how hard I was working for her affection and I would never let her out of my sight again. However, after being home for about 15 minutes, she told me we need to talk. I thought this was great because she had been so distant and cold for the last 6 months that we were finally going to get somewhere. She informed me that she was not happy, needed space to find herself, lost herself, needed to miss me again, etc. She had seen a lawyer a month before and looked into divorce but couldn't pull the trigger. She did, however, rent an apartment 5 miles from our house, shared with one of her female coworkers who was unhappy in her marriage, and said she was moving out. She said she could not divorce me, so she felt like there must be something left. She also agreed to marriage counseling, which I have promptly scheduled an appointment. We also agreed to a weekly date night, talked about money and how we would share time with the kids. She left on Saturday. The kids will stay with me while she works nights for half the week, then we'll stay with her for the second half. She is also picking up from school and stays with them in our home until I get home. I am devastated, but I have only texted her once since she left. I told her to let me know if she needed anything and that she was welcome home whenever she found what she was looking for. The day after she left, we both attended my son's basketball practice. It was extremely awkward as I did not know if I was supposed to talk to her, but I felt like in a hole if I just sat there quiet. So, I told her I was going to leave and that I supported her cause for space and did not feel like it was going to have its desired effect if we were around each other every day, and that we should save our conversations for date night and counseling. I have broken down several times since she left. I am strong in front of my kids, but I want her to come home quickly. Sorry if this thing turned into a novel. It has taken 6 months to get to now. Additional details: the OM is or was married with kids. Her mother knows she is unhappy, but I don't know how much she knows. I have not told anyone other my sister. I do not have any contact for the OM or his wife. I will go back and check phone records for the sake of your advice, confident in my guess. And she blames this hotel fight for constantly. I don't even remember what it was about in much detail. Perhaps she was looking for an excuse. I do not want to make myself look desperate despite what damage is done. We have our first counseling session in 2 weeks. From what I have read, it sounds like she is having a MLC, and even it appears it may already be too late if she views me that way. I have seen a lot of "there is nothing he could have done" stories by now. She agreed to the counseling and said she wants to make our marriage work. BS. I have not spoken to her of OM since the day I confronted her over the phone bill over 2 months ago. My sister has offered in the past to go full detective on his crap, get his wife's info, etc., and I have called her off, basically stating I don't care about him, I only care about my wife. But I can see where getting him in hot water may work in my favor. Tell her to move in or force her to admit to Pa and that it's over prior to counseling. Tell the whole world of the affair. Her new roommate is also her best friend who started having an affair prior to my wife. I think they are going all Thelma and Louise, egging each other on through this. For the first time since the bomb dropped, I feel empowered. Like I can actually do something about this. I feel excited that the advice I have received is my best chance at salvaging my marriage, and that if I still lose my wife, I know that I have given it every opportunity to succeed. I think I just found the OM wife and messaged her on Facebook. Hello, my name is OP. I am looking for family of piece of crap that graduated high school in city state year. My wife has been having an extramarital affair with him for the past 6 months. We have 2 wonderful children. Her activities have put our marriage of 14 years at great risk. If I have contacted you by mistake, please accept my apologies. I don't think he has ever traveled to her. She has made the 2 trips back to him. I also think he is hoping to play her and this affair out for years with no intention of leaving his wife. So, it has become a big priority now for me to expose this thing to his family. I also found the OMW email and tried to email her, but it was returned. Update: this is our convo. Wife just called pissed. What's with spamming everyone's inbox? Are you trying to make me the bad guy to all my friends and family? No, I just felt like I had to expose your affair in the hopes of making it less mysterious and attractive to you. Her: well, I have some things about you I can tell everyone. Look, I'm not trying to battle this out with you. My only agenda here is to end your affair. Her: well, I don't think that was the right thing to do. Well, I think you need to make a decision. You have had 6 months to choose me or him. You don't need to decide right now, but you need to come home tomorrow. If not, I will take it as you are choosing him. Her: so, you're giving me an ultimatum to come home tomorrow? No, I'm telling you to make a decision, him or me. Her: okay Tone, you really want to do this? Okay. Her: okay, well I will talk to you tomorrow, not sounding like she is coming home or anything. Okay. Her: bye. End of call. I think I can get over a P. At least I want to have an opportunity to cross that bridge. What I am afraid of is blaming myself for the failures of our marriage, which drove her to the affair. I know, but we have survived a lot and I have always been there for her. I checked out first, choosing my lifestyle over being with her. I'm not sure if I would have succumbed on my own. I wish she would have tried harder to snap me out of my funk. I agree the never justified. I wish she would leave me on her own if she was going to leave. I feel like she is hypnotized and she hasn't been herself for some time now. I guess I refuse to allow it to end like this. I also think she is genuinely confused. Once she started down the rabbit hole, it was too late. She found herself in over her head and failed to end it when I confronted her the first time. I don't think she is as plotting and planning as it comes across. I don't think she understands her own feelings, and that's why she really agreed to the therapy. She is looking for a life raft but afraid to recommit to me. I don't know what the current state of the is. They may have broken up a month ago for all I know. Maybe now she feels confused and guilty over what she did, and wants her space without me up her bottom doing the pick-me dance. I talked to her this morning and gave her until tomorrow to move back in. Date night is tonight. I spoke with her father today. He said when he got the spam, he called her this morning. She told him that I was deflecting my own issues onto some dreamed-up affair she was having. I wanted him to understand, so I spoke to him for a couple of hours, explained a lot of what I learned on this board, and in the end, I think he believes me but didn't know what I wanted him to do about it. I told him I didn't expect anything from him, just that he shouldn't be so quick to believe what she was saying and dismiss my exposure, and that if there were any opportunities for him to try to snap her out of this, he should take them. She tried to demonize me to him. Again, bringing up the hotel fight and how she had to take the kids and leave and how upsetting that was for her. My point here is that most people probably heard the same story from her and most likely believe her. This is completely out of her nature. She has not been denying the affair took place or is taking place with me anymore. However, she is not admitting anything either, likely on the advice of a lawyer. I am not reverting back to doormat, but I need a little more to get there. It truly was a tough sell explaining all of the circumstantial evidence to her dad. Now I know many of you are rolling eyes right now. I am very close to making contact with OMW any day now. She will be able to corroborate the obvious assumptions we have made. I am reluctant to go out on a limb when there are still facts that are unknown to me. Leon could be dead for all I know. I don't change the fact that the DID happened and my WW is engaged in a toxic relationship with her BFF. We are making a lot of assumptions here when we do not need to. She may have got a taste of WW, enjoyed it, the ended. Now she wants to single life it up for a while. How do I sound demanding to end the PA if it no longer exists? OMW will be able to confirm if he was even in town while my wife was back east. He lives about 6 hours from wife's mother. I can put him in wife's mother's town at time of meet one due to obituary from his grandmother. Again, OMW can confirm this. I would hate to make a lot of assumptions, file D, and find out I was wrong on half and was a couple of days from revealing everything. This board has done wonders for me. I have manned up. I am taking control. I am no longer breaking down when I look at a pair of shoes she bought me for no reason. But I have to slow things down a bit right now. The hurting has stopped. I do not feel like I am in limbo. I am just trying to understand everything before I make a wrong decision. But whatever the spam blast was the right move. In fact, I should have done it a lot sooner. I also should have allowed my sister to try to blow this thing up with OMW 2 months ago. For now, I just need a little more to get me total buy-in. This may sound taboo even asking, but if the kids are with us and we are having a family night, date night, would it be unfair if we ganged up on her and asked her to come home? They were not part of the exposure and only believe mommy is away because of my failures in the marriage, not necessarily by her word, just perceived action after 2 years of her complaining about me not being around enough and drinking beers with my buddies. I think they have been optimistic about this being temporary because they have seen super husband, dad for the past few months. If we can make it to counseling, I believe I can get her to crack and admit everything in front of a professional. She is looking for someone to okay what she is doing or has done. She will demonize me to the counselor and hope the counselor tells us that given the circumstances what she did was normal or natural. She needs an independent perspective to validate her actions. Of course, she will not hear this, but I also want her to hear a non-biased opinion that nothing justifies an affair. I need to stretch this thing along and make it to the counseling session 2 weeks. I have lost respect in her eyes and I am working on that, but she has a toxic BFF patting her on the back every day. She cannot undo this on her own. The BFF is likely reassuring her that she has not done anything wrong and that I left her no choice. I think I have her father in my camp, but she is lying to him. He may get through to her, yet. Aside from the kids, right now she has no reason to come home. After all, so far, the objective opinion is supporting her affair. My wife has always been the jealous one to the point of driving me nuts sometimes. She felt emotionally abandoned. She even said about a year ago that she felt like we were roommates. A lot of scripts right out of his story. His WW had an affair and they separated, and so MC. Etc. The part that's missing is he never filed D. I have thought about dating another woman to get my wife's attention, but it felt wrong. I do think that I can put enough doubt out there without actually dating that she will become very jealous and might snap back when she thinks the tables are turned. Update. Date night was supposed to be last night. I had told her the previous day to be ready at 6. When I got home from work, I noticed she had been to the house and taken more of her belongings. My gut kind of sank as she was also supposed to come home yesterday. I tried to force myself to go through with date night anyway because it is something we committed to a week ago and the kids were looking forward to it. While on my way to her apt, I had to pull off. I could not go through with it. She would continue to fence sit and eat cake forever if I allowed her. I called her and asked her to meet me. We met in a parking lot and talked for about 2 hours. The convoy was good, no real fighting or hurting one another. I explained to her that it was too hurtful for me to continue to see her until she was serious about working on our marriage and that she wasn't serious about the marriage until she came home. She tried to deny that Thea has anything to do with why she moved out. Even admitted that Thea was still ongoing. I told her she was fooling herself and that she was rationalizing like a drug addict. I told her how I knew what she was going through and that I could not compete with the fairy tale she is experiencing. I explained that she was under the influence and that it was the only reason she wasn't serious about us, that she could not go even 2 weeks without talking to him, much less leave him forever for me. Challenge accepted. She told me she would prove to herself that it was not influencing her decisions and she would not have contact with him for 2 weeks. Now I know she will fail. She's already tried this twice before. But on any level, it works out for me and she may finally realize how out of control she is. I told her I would have no further contact with her and am canceling our counseling session until she comes home. She did not like hearing this but accepted it. Now I wait, not a desperate wait. I hope that she comes home soon. However, I will not be pining for her affection or trying to persuade her any longer. The ball is in her court. When I find myself losing interest in her returning, I will know that I have moved on and can take the next steps. I am optimistic right now that she is close to making the right decision. Spam Blast was a real eye-opener. She was very upset that I was going to end contact until she comes home. In fact, I think I was very close to her coming home last night. Our fence-sitting days of eating cake are over. 3 months later, my focus for the last 3 months was to get her back at any and all costs. However, my last attempt to seduce her into coming home failed in March. I have begun to get over her. It started out as me believing that she was never coming home. To now, I do not want her to come home. I feel like the hell she has put me through for almost a year now is unforgivable. I'm tired of her rejection and her wayward ways. I don't have proof, but I believe I'm moved out here and WW sees him as often as she can. I am ready to press forward with D and I don't feel bad about it. I am really happy to be here, but it is a little surprising to me considering how dark my last few months have been. My comment, finally OP woke up. It took him months, but he finally did it. Forget about begging another person to come back. The whole world awaits you. Story 2. My backstory. I'm 33. Been married almost 9 years, together for 11. 4-year daughter and 6-year son. Husband decided last May, almost exactly a year, that he didn't love me anymore and went to stay at his parents'. Decided he did love me, just didn't love some things I did or didn't do. Not eating at the table, not going to church. I thought those things were pretty easy to fix, so I did. Came back home on July 3rd of last year. I found text messages and emails to a coworker during July and August. He had been having an emotional affair. We did not contact, or so I thought. She is married, having troubles. All started as just talking to each other. Everything was okay, I thought. In November I found a letter he wrote to this same woman on his computer. It was never sent to her. It professed his love for her and talked all about how perfect she was in every single way. New no contact letter in November. Started counseling in January until a few weeks ago. I've still been having lots of trust issues. Oh, I wonder why, and I think that has finally pushed him over the edge. He told me he didn't think this was working on set and he moved out yesterday. Yesterday he told me that he just doesn't love me anymore and for the past year he has been trying to get those feelings back. And that the passion is gone. I am in shock. I never thought he would do this to me. I am heartbroken. Unfortunately, I do love him. I guess my question is what next? I know that's broad, but I really don't know what I need to be doing. How in the world do I start to heal from this and accept my new reality? He's not worried about doing any lawyer stuff yet. He actually wants to go the self-representation route. I feel like he's hanging on to me just in case something else doesn't work out. I've got to break away from him and I just don't know how. My kids are devastated and that's making things even harder. Both of our checks go into one account, so I know I've got to get that done. I feel like I'm being a big old weenie. It has amazed me so far, the range of emotions I've felt. I know I need to see a lawyer. I have to get up the gut to do it. I'm scared to death that if I get everything started, he will get mad. His parents are quite wealthy and could create problems for me. This is my first night without my kids. Dang it all, I caved. I've been good all day and only talked to him when it was relating to the kids. Had to call him while ago about some weekend plans and started crying. It just makes me so mad that I don't have closure on this. I have some things I really do need to tell him that will hopefully make me feel a little better. He just refuses to acknowledge that we have to do stuff for a divorce. It's not just moving to your parents' house and poof, you're single. I did tell him that I didn't need to talk to him about getting back together or anything. He just doesn't seem to care at all, and that is a really hard truth to face. He wants 50-50 custody, and I think that's going to be hard for him. I hope he finally sees how much I actually do for our children. He's stuck toting them to 2 birthday parties this weekend since it's his weekend and won't be able to play golf. I offered no assistance as I will be at the beach with girlfriends. The not knowing what he's doing is torturing me. I haven't asked or anything, but it's killing me, especially last weekend. But he's free and can live in his own little world now. I meet with a lawyer next Friday and he meets with one next Monday. I can't say I'm on board with this yet. I hope the lawyers can make this pretty painless. He is so quick to get upset with me and raise his voice. I've been telling him that he's not allowed to talk to me that way anymore. That I've put up with him talking down to me for 11 years and I don't have to listen anymore. I feel better today than I have in a while. I know now that codependency is a problem. Or was a problem. I feel good today. I actually have some hope in my life that doesn't involve my marriage being repaired. I'm excited to start counseling, excited to see a lawyer. The more I have to talk to him, the more I see. I don't understand why he wants to be good buddies with me and how that's supposed to be okay. You don't want to be with me, but you want to be my friend. I don't chit-chat with him anymore. He's also been really bad about throwing out what he's doing when the kids aren't with him, going to the movies, going to a concert. I told him that had to stop, that it was very hurtful, and that we weren't going to discuss what the other does when the kids aren't around. He's been to a lawyer. I go on Friday. His lawyer wants to change things in our separation agreement, so I can't wait to see what this guy says. I know now that I don't want him back. Not that he's asked, but I feel stronger knowing that I really don't want him. When he starts with the "we can be best friends," that I have to keep reminding myself he feels guilty about what he is doing but isn't man enough to stick around and work through the hard times. I keep telling myself that this new person isn't the same man I married, that something is off in his noggin. I'm trying very hard to stand my ground. I've always been the one that would just say it's fine to avoid a confrontation. He has always made me feel like I wasn't ever good enough for him. Not pretty enough, didn't dress the right way, don't listen to the right music. He thinks the girl he had the emotional affair with last year is the most perfect thing in the world. I told him she washes off that makeup just like I do and looks like crap in the morning. She is a human and we all have faults. He is selfish, always has been. He's an only child that comes from a well-to-do family. I've gone without because he spent our $sign on whatever. He never liked that I wouldn't spend tons of $sign on clothes or on the clothes he wanted me to wear. I wasn't running up a credit card for that mess, but he had no problem dropping $100 on something for his golf game. He owes me money now because he put $100 on my debit card for a tanning bed membership. He no longer has that card or is a user on my credit card. He dropped the kids off this morning so I could take them to daycare and just walked in the house like he still lives there, straight through the kitchen into my bathroom. Still has lots of stuff in the house. I'm tired of looking at it. I feel better. I'm trying to be calm and handle my business, but he gets me so riled up. I had a list of 4 things that needed to be taken care of, 2 things to do with finances, 1 with the house, and the final was trying to get an answer of when he's going to get his stuff out. He was so angry with me. It's hard to have someone yell at you like that when this is his doing. He finally asked if I was having a bad day. I just said no, I'm fine. I'm not fine. I'm miserable. Not because I miss him, but because of the pain he's causing everyone but himself. I don't want him, but it's hard to just separate 9 years of marriage and not think about it again. I don't know how he's doing it. I am so angry today that I can barely function. I know I don't need to let it control me, but I don't know what else to do with it. I've raged to other people, written it out, and now writing it here. I just want him to know how angry I am. But I know he doesn't care. How can he look at their precious faces and know what he's doing? I know he is painting me as the bad guy in all of this, and that's hard to deal with. I've admitted my faults in our marriage. I've worked through those things. He thinks he has done nothing wrong. Never saw an emotional affair as an actual affair. I'm sure it has moved on to pie over the past few weeks. How do I deal with this, knowing he's with someone else and is happy while I'm left to deal with everything that's going on? I think he thought that once he decided he didn't love me, that was that, and poof, we're divorced. I want to move ahead and try and get things settled, but he's the one not wanting to finish anything. I'm a good person. The issues I had were issues any married couple would face while raising 2 small children. I've moved past those, tried to fix myself, still trying to fix myself and make myself better. He talks to me like I am the most horrid thing on earth. He started this thing off with wanting to be friends, but now we'll barely speak, and when he does it's angry. I try very hard not to be angry back, but I did yell at him today, yelling at him to stop yelling at me and that he can't talk to me that way. I've never wanted to hit someone so much in my life. I've got to stay strong. I can't show him how much he is hurting me. He doesn't get to think that I'm pining for him. So many things have happened. I have found out so much that I didn't want to know. I know now how much of a liar he is. He has lied straight to my face, and worst of all to my kids' faces. Has lied every day. I have to hold my tongue on what I actually know, and that is so hard. I want to scream at him that I know the truth. It's so hard to acknowledge that this is the person I married and have trusted with everything over the past 11 years. Now I'm rethinking everything he has ever said and wondering if that was all a lie. He talks to me now and all I see is them in bed together. He tries to be nice, but I know it's out of guilt. Hopefully I'll get to file this week. I have been put on antidepressants to help with the anxiety. Hopefully that will kick in soon. I've also started reading Codependent No More, and I see so much of myself in there. I also asked for my kids 1 more night per week. We were doing joint custody, but it's just not working. Even after a month, I cry every night they are here. That hurts so much. I have all the proof of adultery I need. My lawyer has already started the process, and he should be served papers within the week. Fault for divorce will be adultery, and her name will be on the papers. I found out this morning. It hurts so bad. My heart hurts. I know this will make the divorce process a lot faster, but it's so much to deal with. I feel like less of a woman because of this, but I know I haven't done anything wrong and that I shouldn't feel that way. I just want to heal from this, but right now I don't see a light at the end of the tunnel. We still have to talk a lot because of the kids. I try very hard to do cool, firm, and detached, but then he gets mad that I'm not talking to him. I can't let him know I know what's actually going on when all I want to do is scream at him and call him names. It's so hard to be halfway nice to him right now knowing all of the lies he has told and is still telling. This is really hard to deal with. Update: papers were served this afternoon. I don't think he realized what was happening. Called me afterwards to fuss because I didn't give him a heads up that he was being served today. Really, I had to point out that adultery was on there. He's still saying he hasn't done anything. I told him that I have all the proof I need and that he can't argue with that. He never got mad, I think just shocked that I actually did it. I feel like 50 pounds has been lifted off of my back. I feel better tonight than I have since this started. This may sink in over the next few days and then he will get mad, but I will deal with that then. Called to let me know something about the kids and was nice as could be later. So odd. Now on to the exposure. I do have to work on the explanation and extended conversations with him. He wanted me to explain the paperwork to him. I told him to call my lawyer and that he probably needs to call his. I'm just still so surprised it went down the way it did. He thought I was pining over him and had no idea how much I've been holding in all these weeks. Here's to a good day. This is what I want to say to him. My therapist has asked me to shun him from my life, so I'm currently not speaking to him. I just need to get this out before I explode. Dear STBXH, you want to know why I'm mad? You honestly have no idea why I would be mad. You still won't admit you've been having an affair even though her name is listed in the divorce papers. We are getting a divorce based on your adultery, but you still don't know why I'm mad. You have made me feel like the past 11 years of my life have been a lie. That everything you ever told me was a lie, especially the past year. Last July 3rd, I let you come back into my life and my heart. I've worked so hard over the past year to make sure you were happy that I neglected to make myself happy. You have driven my self-esteem into the ditch, but I know now that I look pretty dang good to be 33 and have 2 small kids. You have made me feel like I was a lesser person because our marriage was having trouble. That everything was my fault. I look now and see how bad it actually was. That you have tried to control me, and anytime I stood up for myself you knew exactly how to make me back down. I was blind enough to accept you back after you repeatedly made huge mistakes going to her house, writing her a long love letter. Your mother is the one that begged me to stay with you after I found the letter on your computer. I should have kicked you out then. I know now that it's not you I miss. I know I don't love you anymore. I can't love someone who can so openly disrespect me to others. I miss the family, that's all. But now I get that complete feeling when it's just the kids and me. I miss having someone on the other side of the bed. That doesn't mean it has to be you. You act like I have fallen off the face of the earth to our mutual friends as you parade her around. She's ugly, and not just physically. I hope she makes you feel better about yourself. I hope one day you do to each other what you've done to me and her husband. Have you not noticed that you and her husband look the same? She's moving to the same person. Does she think you have money? Because you won't after I get done with you. You still claim you haven't had an affair. You are an idiot. How in the world can you be so blind? You are trying to use my children against me, but what you don't know is that kids are smart. They pick up on things and figure things out. I don't have to say anything bad about you to them. They will see what you are. I can't wait to get on with my life and meet someone who thinks I'm fabulous. While you live your life with someone who has a skunk-striped blonde streak and wears white glitter eyeliner. He wanted to see the kids for a little while, so I took them to his family's property so they could ride the tractor. I haven't talked to him in several days. He said he was very glad we were talking again. I told him children's happiness was more important than that. I went out for supper with the kids, him and his mother. It was all very odd and uncomfortable. I never really said anything. Before leaving, he made a remark about me being angry. I told him that I want one day that I don't find something out about him. He then asked if I would ask the lawyer to remove the no molestation statements in the divorce papers because he can't stand not touching me. What the hell? Doesn't make me question anything, as I still know he is a lying liar. Maybe he finally read the papers and is trying to step up his game. I just want one day where I don't find something out. Just one. I haven't had a single day since May 17th that I haven't found out something about him. Today was confirmation that the hotel charge on my credit card was actually him. He tried to blame it on his friend. How much more can there possibly be? I was feeling good and now I'm back in the crapper again. I'm going to a local divorce support group tonight just to get out. He has the kids for the next 2 days. Just so tired of being an adult right now. Funny how things change from day to day dealing with divorce. Everything from what's going on with the process to feelings. Since Friday I have been feeling great. I don't know if I'm truly moving on or if the Prozac finally kicked in. Either way, I'll take it. It still hurts, but I feel like I can do something now. I feel like I'll be okay, or even better than okay. I haven't had any desire to talk to him. We've had to see each other to drop off the kids, but that's all. Last night when I dropped them off, that was the first time I've looked at him and haven't had a feeling of disgust or love or anger. I just looked at him and saw how others must see him. He was just kind of there. So last night my final chance to expose fell in my lap. His parents came to drop the kids off and I let them know what is actually going on. I don't think they knew. I felt really good after they left, knowing there are 2 more people that know the truth. Then at midnight he started texting me wanting to chit-chat. Told me he didn't like not talking to me every day. I told him that he fired me from that job and that's what he has her for. It was very strange. Then he asked what I told his parents because his mom was visibly shaken by things I said. I told him to ask them because I wasn't ashamed of anything I said. We have the temporary hearing 2 weeks from today. Then I'm taking my kids to the beach. I think we all deserve a vacation after this mess. With my new don't care about you attitude, I've also been able to set boundaries with him lately and keep them. I've been able to be a little more friendly and able to have normal interaction. Definitely easier on the kids. Hopefully this momentum will continue. My comment: it's a good thing that you've become dispassionate towards him. That will help you tremendously in the healing process. This lady detached faster than some other OP. Did you like it? Comment down and I will see you tomorrow.